Welcome to Health is Wealth, the channel where your well-being always comes first. If you're over 50, or even approaching that age, you already know that your body changes in unexpected ways. One of the most frustrating and uncomfortable changes: constipation. It's more common than most people think. In fact, studies show that more than 1 in 4 older adults struggle with chronic constipation. It doesn't just cause discomfort, it can lead to bloating, hemorrhoids, poor appetite, and a weakened immune system. If left unmanaged, it can even contribute to more serious gastrointestinal issues. But what if the root of the problem isn't just age or reduced activity? What if it's right there in your kitchen? Yes, what you eat plays a massive role in your digestive health. While we often talk about what foods to eat to stay regular, today we're flipping the conversation. We're going to reveal the 5 types of foods you should avoid to protect your gut, reduce bloating, and restore smooth digestion. Prohibited: these are foods that slow your gut down. Prohibited: that dehydrate your colon. Prohibited: that block your bowel movement without warning. And chances are, you're eating at least one of them every single day, without even realizing it. In this video, you'll learn what specific foods are known to cause constipation, how they affect your digestive system, what to eat instead, easy swaps you can start using today. So stick around, because the final food on our list is something almost everyone consumes, thinking it's healthy, but it may be making your constipation worse. And if you care about keeping your digestion smooth, your energy high, and your mood stable, you don't want to miss it. Now, let's dive into the first food you should avoid. Let's begin with one of the biggest culprits behind constipation: processed foods. Processed foods are everywhere. They're quick, convenient, and often taste great. But beneath that convenience lies a serious threat to your digestive health. We're talking about frozen meals, packaged snacks like chips and crackers, fast food items like burgers and fried chicken, processed meats like sausages, hot dogs, and cold cuts. What makes these foods so dangerous for your gut? The answer lies in fiber, or more accurately, the lack of it. Fiber is essential for healthy digestion. It adds bulk to your stool and helps move waste through your intestines. Without enough fiber, stool becomes hard, dry, and difficult to pass. Processed foods are stripped of fiber during manufacturing. White bread, white rice, pastries, sugary cereals, they've all had the fiber-rich bran and germ removed. You're left with empty calories that do nothing to help your gut function. But the problem doesn't stop there. Most processed foods are high in unhealthy fats, especially trans fats and saturated fats. These fats slow down digestion by relaxing the muscles in your gastrointestinal tract. The result? A sluggish bowel that struggles to move waste through efficiently. And let's not forget about added salt. Processed foods often contain excessive sodium. High sodium levels pull water out of your stool, making it even drier and harder to pass. This leads to straining, bloating, and discomfort, all classic symptoms of constipation. To make matters worse, many processed meals lack hydration. They're dry, dense, and low in moisture. When your colon doesn't get enough fluid, it absorbs water from your stool, making the problem even worse. So what should you do? Start by cutting back on instant noodles, microwavable dinners, flavored rice or pasta packets, store-bought baked goods, processed meats and deli products. Instead, choose whole, natural foods. Brown rice instead of white rice. Whole grain bread instead of white bread. Roasted vegetables instead of fried foods. Fresh fruit and raw vegetables for snacks. You don't have to be perfect, even reducing your intake of processed foods can make a big difference. Also, remember to read labels. Look for foods with at least 3 to 5 grams of fiber per serving. Low sodium content. No trans fats. Hydration is key too. If you're eating fiber but not drinking enough water, you'll still have trouble. So always pair fiber-rich foods with proper fluid intake, ideally water, not sugary drinks. Bottom line? Processed foods slow your gut down. They steal fiber from your diet, dry out your stool, and leave you bloated and constipated. Eliminating or reducing them is one of the fastest ways to restore smooth digestion. And the best part? As you move away from processed foods, you'll also reduce your risk of heart disease, obesity, diabetes, and even cognitive decline. Your body, and your bowel, will thank you. Now, are you ready for food number 2? Because this next one is something millions of people consume every single morning, thinking it's harmless, but it might be one of the hidden triggers keeping you constipated. Let's move on to dairy products, a category of food that often surprises people when it comes to constipation. Milk, cheese, yogurt, ice cream, they're staples in many diets around the world. They're rich in calcium, contain protein, and are often marketed as essential for strong bones. But when it comes to digestive health, dairy may be doing you more harm than good, especially if you're prone to constipation. Here's why. First, dairy is naturally low in fiber. Like processed foods, it doesn't contribute anything to the bulk of your stool. If you're eating large amounts of cheese or drinking milk regularly, but not balancing it with fruits, vegetables, or whole grains, you're setting yourself up for hard, dry stools. Second, dairy can slow down digestion, especially in people who are sensitive to lactose, the natural sugar found in milk. Even if you're not fully lactose intolerant, your body may struggle to break down lactose efficiently as you age. This mild intolerance can lead to bloating, cramping, gas, sluggish bowel movements. For some people, dairy doesn't just cause discomfort, it directly contributes to constipation. This is particularly common in children, where cow's milk has been shown in multiple studies to be a trigger for chronic constipation. Once dairy is removed, bowel function often improves dramatically. Another issue with dairy is its effect on gut flora. Some dairy products, especially full-fat varieties like cheese, can disrupt the balance of healthy gut bacteria if consumed in excess. A disrupted microbiome leads to inflammation, poor digestion, and yes, constipation. Now, not all dairy is equal. There's a big difference between heavily processed cheese slices and fermented dairy like plain Greek yogurt. But even yogurt, if it's high in sugar and low in probiotics, offers little benefit to your gut health. So what can you do if you love dairy but struggle with constipation? Here are a few practical steps. Reduce or eliminate high-fat dairy such as hard cheese, cream, butter, ice cream. Choose lactose-free alternatives if you're sensitive. Try almond milk, oat milk, coconut milk, lactose-free yogurt with live cultures. Incorporate probiotic-rich dairy, but watch the sugar content. Choose plain Greek yogurt, kefir, skyr. Balance your dairy intake with fiber-rich foods. Add fruit to your yogurt. Eat cheese with a side of raw veggies. Drink milk alongside high-fiber cereal. And don't forget hydration. Dairy tends to be dense and dehydrating if not paired with water-rich foods and beverages. In summary, dairy can quietly sabotage your digestion. It provides no fiber, may irritate your gut lining, and can slow your bowel movements, especially if you consume it daily or in large portions. You don't need to cut dairy entirely, unless you're sensitive to it. But cutting back and replacing it with plant-based alternatives or fermented, low-sugar options can significantly help. You'll feel lighter, less bloated, and more regular, all by simply tweaking your dairy intake. Ready to move on? Because food number 3 is one that seems totally innocent, often served as a light option or a go-to-comfort food. But if you're dealing with constipation, you might want to think twice before reaching for it. Now let's talk about refined grains, especially white rice, white bread, and white pasta. These are comfort foods in many cultures and considered safe or easy to digest. But if you suffer from constipation, refined grains are one of the biggest culprits silently working against your gut. Why? Because they're stripped of fiber, which is the very nutrient your digestive system needs to keep things moving. Let's break it down. Whole grains like brown rice, oats, quinoa, and whole wheat bread contain all parts of the grain. The bran, outer layer, which is rich in fiber. The germ, which holds vitamins and healthy fats. The endosperm, mostly starch. But during the refining process, manufacturers remove the bran and germ, leaving only the starchy endosperm. This means the grain becomes soft and fluffy. It digests quickly. But it lacks fiber, nutrients, and texture. White rice, white bread, and regular pasta are essentially empty carbs. They pass through your digestive tract quickly, but they don't add any bulk to your stool or stimulate the colon. In fact, they can lead to slower bowel movements and harder stools. What's worse, if these refined carbs make up a major part of your diet and you're not compensating with enough vegetables or fruits, constipation becomes almost inevitable. Here's what happens in your body. Lack of bulk. Without fiber, your intestines don't have enough substance to push through the waste. Slower transit time. Fiber helps regulate the pace at which food moves. Without it, food sits longer in your colon. More water reabsorption. The longer stool stays in the colon, the more water is absorbed back into your body, making your stool dry, hard, and difficult to pass. Unstable blood sugar and energy crashes. Refined grains spike blood sugar quickly, which can throw off your metabolism and indirectly affect gut motility. What's the solution? It's simple: replace refined grains with whole grains. This doesn't mean you can't eat carbs, it means you choose smarter carbs that support digestion. Here are excellent fiber-rich substitutes. Instead of white rice, brown rice, wild rice, or quinoa. Instead of white bread, 100% whole wheat bread, rye bread, or multigrain loaves. Instead of regular pasta, whole grain pasta, chickpea pasta, or lentil-based pasta. Instead of instant noodles, buckwheat soba, whole wheat ramen, or rice noodles with added veggies. Fiber from whole grains doesn't just help with bowel regularity, it also feeds your healthy gut bacteria. Supports satiety, preventing overeating. Regulates blood sugar and insulin levels. Another simple trick? Mix your carbs with fiber-rich sides. Add steamed broccoli or a green salad next to rice. Sprinkle flaxseed or chia on whole grain toast. Pair your pasta with sautéed spinach, beans, or mushrooms. And don't forget hydration. Fiber needs water to do its job. If you increase fiber but don't drink enough fluids, you can actually worsen constipation. So always increase fiber and water intake together. To sum it up, refined grains like white rice and white bread rob your body of what it needs to eliminate waste efficiently. They fill you up, but they don't feed your gut. Replacing them with whole grains is one of the simplest yet most powerful shifts you can make for lasting digestive health. Now that you've learned about dairy and refined carbs, you might be wondering, what else could be harming your bowel movements? Well, the next food is one that many people consume without thinking twice, and it hides in your drinks, snacks, and even healthy foods. Let's get into it. Next on the list of foods to avoid if you want to prevent constipation is added sugar. This one is tricky, because sugar hides in places you'd never expect, not just in candy or soda, but also in salad dressings, breakfast cereals, flavored yogurts, even so-called healthy protein bars. Let's be clear, natural sugars found in whole fruits are not the problem. These come packaged with fiber, water, and essential nutrients. The real issue is refined, added sugar, the type you get from processed foods and sweetened beverages. So how does added sugar impact constipation? There are several ways sugar works against your digestive health. Sugar displaces fiber. Most foods high in sugar are low in fiber. If you fill your plate or snack routine with sugary items, you're likely eating fewer vegetables, fruits, legumes, and whole grains, the key sources of dietary fiber. This imbalance leads to insufficient stool bulk and poor bowel motility. Sugar feeds bad gut bacteria. Your gut contains trillions of microorganisms. The healthy bacteria thrive on fiber, especially soluble fiber and resistant starches. But the bad bacteria, the ones that contribute to inflammation, gas, and slow digestion, feed on sugar. A high-sugar diet promotes dysbiosis, meaning an imbalance of gut flora, which disrupts regular bowel movements. Dehydration effect. Foods loaded with sugar can indirectly dehydrate your body. High blood sugar levels cause your kidneys to flush out more water in an attempt to balance things out. And when you're even mildly dehydrated, your colon reabsorbs more water from your stool, making it harder and more difficult to pass. Inflammation and sluggish colon function. A sugar-heavy diet contributes to systemic inflammation, which doesn't spare your gut. Chronic low-grade inflammation can interfere with how your muscles contract and how efficiently your colon functions, slowing everything down. Artificial sweeteners worsen it. To make matters worse, many sugar-free alternatives contain artificial sweeteners like sorbitol, sucralose, and maltitol. While they don't have calories, they can draw water into the intestines and ferment in the colon, causing bloating, discomfort, and ironically, either diarrhea or constipation, depending on your sensitivity. So what should you avoid? Here are common high-sugar offenders. Soft drinks and energy drinks. Flavored yogurts and fruit on the bottom cups. Pastries, cakes, muffins, cookies. Fruit juices and canned fruits in syrup. Ketchup, barbecue sauces, bottled salad dressings. Granola bars, protein bars, and cereals with over 6 g of sugar per serving. A good rule of thumb. If sugar is one of the top 3 ingredients on the label, it's probably not gut-friendly. Instead, focus on natural sources of sweetness that support digestion. Whole fruits like pears, berries, apples, and kiwis, all high in fiber. Unsweetened dried fruits like prunes, figs, and dates, great in moderation for regularity. Cinnamon, vanilla extract, or citrus zest to enhance flavor naturally. Plain Greek yogurt with added fruit, flaxseed, or oats instead of pre-sweetened versions. If you have a sweet tooth, satisfy it with smart swaps. Replace candy with a few squares of dark chocolate, minimum 70% cocoa. Replace soda with sparkling water infused with lemon or berries. Replace sugary granola with homemade oatmeal topped with chia seeds and banana slices. Also, train your taste buds to reset. The less sugar you consume, the less you crave it. After just a week or two of cutting back, naturally sweet foods like carrots or strawberries begin to taste richer and more satisfying. Here's the takeaway. Added sugar doesn't just cause weight gain or blood sugar spikes, it disrupts your gut health and slows your digestive system. If you want regular, comfortable bowel movements, sugar must be managed, not just for your weight, but for your colon too. And now, we've covered dairy, fried food, refined grains, and sugar. But there's one more food group that many people overlook, a daily staple that might be drying you out from the inside. Let's explore that next. The final group of foods you need to avoid to prevent constipation is low-fiber processed snacks. These are the convenient, grab-and-go items many people reach for when they're short on time or energy: crackers, chips, pretzels, white bread sandwiches, instant noodles, and similar products. The problem? These foods are stripped of natural fiber during processing and often loaded with salt, preservatives, and unhealthy fats. Let's break down how these snacks sabotage your digestive health. Extremely low in fiber. Processed snack foods are made from refined ingredients. White flour, cornstarch, rice flour, and potato starch have had their bran and germ removed, the very parts that provide dietary fiber. Without fiber, there's no bulk to push waste through your colon efficiently. That's a straight path to sluggish bowels. Promote dehydration. Many of these snacks are high in sodium, which pulls water from your intestines and cells. This not only makes your stool harder and drier, but it also slows intestinal movement. Combine high salt with low fiber, and you're practically inviting constipation to settle in. Lack of gut-stimulating nutrients. Whole, natural foods provide magnesium, potassium, and water, nutrients that help muscles in the intestines contract smoothly. Processed snacks lack all of these. You're getting calories, not function. Encourage poor dietary patterns. When you eat these snacks, you're crowding out fiber-rich options. They're filling, but not satisfying. They lead to blood sugar crashes, more cravings, and repeated cycles of low-nutrient eating, all of which starve your gut of what it needs to keep moving. Often eaten mindlessly. Another issue with processed snacks is how they're consumed. You tend to eat them quickly, in front of screens, without enough chewing or water. This disrupts proper digestion starting from the mouth, down through the entire gut. So what types of foods are we talking about specifically? Watch out for these low-fiber, high-constipation snacks. Potato chips, cheese puffs, and corn chips. White bread toast, sandwich buns, English muffins. Instant noodles, cup soups, frozen snack rolls. Cookies, crackers, and store-bought pastries. Processed lunch meats in white bread sandwiches. If you look at the label and see, enriched wheat flour, or less than 1 gram of fiber per serving, it's likely not doing your digestion any favors. Here's what to do instead. Replace processed snacks with high-fiber whole food options. Swap potato chips for roasted chickpeas, edamame, or popcorn, unsalted, air-popped. Replace white crackers with whole-grain rice cakes or oat crisps. Choose homemade granola bars made with oats, seeds, and dried fruit. Opt for veggie sticks with hummus or guacamole. Prepare overnight oats, chia pudding, or a handful of trail mix as an emergency snack. Hydration matters here too. Snack on foods that naturally contain water, like cucumber, celery, or watermelon chunks. These help keep stool soft and support peristalsis, the muscle movement of your gut. You don't have to eliminate all processed snacks forever. But you must limit them and balance them with fiber-rich, gut-friendly choices. Think long-term, your colon needs fuel that supports its movement, not just convenience. Here's a quick checklist. Fiber per serving. Aim for 3 g or more. Sodium. Stay under 200 mg per snack. Ingredient list. Choose real food words, not chemicals or enriched flours. Processed snacks are everywhere, they're marketed as time savers, but they're really bowel blockers in disguise. And when you're over 40, over 50, or managing other health conditions, every meal counts for your digestion. So don't let your snack drawer sabotage your gut. Now that we've covered all 5 food categories, dairy, fried foods, refined grains, added sugar, and processed snacks, let's wrap up with the key takeaways and what to do next. Let's quickly recap the 5 food categories you must avoid if you want smoother, more regular digestion, and a life free from the discomfort and health risks of constipation. Number 1. Dairy products. While calcium is important, too much dairy, especially cheese and full-fat milk, slows your gut and dries out your stool. Swap with plant-based options or limit intake if you notice issues. Number 2. Fried and greasy foods. High-fat, low-fiber meals delay gastric emptying and gut motility. Instead of fried snacks or fatty cuts of meat, go for grilled, baked, or steamed alternatives. Number 3. Refined grains. White bread, white rice, and traditional pasta may be soft and familiar, but they lack the roughage your colon depends on. Whole grains are your friend. Oats, quinoa, brown rice, and whole wheat options keep things moving. Number 4. Sugary desserts and sweetened drinks. Added sugar feeds the wrong bacteria and dehydrates your body. This leads to bloating, slow movement, and poor stool consistency. Replace them with fiber-rich fruits, dark chocolate in moderation, and naturally sweet snacks. Number 5. Low-fiber processed snacks. Chips, crackers, and instant meals are easy, but they rob your gut of fuel. Choose real food with fiber, water, and nutrients instead. If you're serious about preventing constipation, you must look beyond individual meals. You need to change how you approach food as a whole. Here's how. Eat more fiber. Aim for at least 25 to 30 grams daily from natural sources like vegetables, fruits, whole grains, legumes, and seeds. Drink plenty of water. Hydration softens stool and supports the muscles in your colon. Move your body. Physical activity stimulates digestion and reduces sluggishness. Listen to your gut. If a food consistently causes bloating, pain, or irregularity, reduce or replace it. Avoid skipping meals. Regular intake keeps the digestive rhythm predictable. You don't have to make all these changes overnight. But you do have to start. The longer you ignore your gut signals, the harder it becomes to reverse the damage. Constipation isn't just about discomfort. It's linked to hemorrhoids, diverticulosis, and even long-term risks like colorectal complications. You owe it to yourself to make digestion a daily priority, not a random concern. If this video helped you understand what foods to avoid, take a second now to support the channel. Hit the like button. Share this with someone you care about. And don't forget to subscribe for more practical, science-based health videos every week, all here on Health is Wealth. Your gut is talking. It's time to listen.